Maybe. Hey guys, happy Friday. It's Ted Bogert. Welcome back to the Ted Show. We're at the LPT Realty studios out here in beautiful downtown Lake Mary. And I'm with the one and only, the amazing, truly the amazing Heart of Gold. Betsy Tinervin is here on the show. It's such an honor to have her on here. We're going to talk about finding your purpose. We're going to talk about real estate, but we're going to talk about so much more. Teams and giving back and selfless giving and giving without expectations back. There's so much this amazing human being does in the world, and it's an honor to have you on the show, Betsy.
Thank you,
Welcome.
Ted.
I'm super happy to have you. See, we're going to get comments. This is live. I don't think my audience is expecting this. I didn't promo, so we're just going to go live and see what happens. One of the things that I love to do on the show is people don't necessarily know you, my audience, so let's give them a 411 on you. I think it's your story's awesome, your passion is awesome, your compassion is awesome. You do. There's no try. What is that from Yoda? So tell them about you.
So I am a realtor and I do run real estate teams. That's kind of like my basis of what I do. In the comments, I don't know how the live works, in the description. We started the show just to give you a taste of my personality. And Ted's like, okay, tell me about yourself. I go, can I just write my own bio?
I was so glad it was the easiest bio ever posted.
I said, can I please write my own bio? He goes, never had anyone ask me that before. I said, oh, I'm unique. I want to talk about a couple of things today. Basically, I sell real estate. That's my job. I do sell real estate. I run teams. I am a real estate coach, and I am with LPT Realty. Real Estate Reimagined is my broker, Robert Palmer's company. I love them. But I also run Sugar and Spice Developments with my partner, Stacey Conte.
Sugar and Spice, you got to look at the logo, y'all. It's amazing.
The logo is pretty great. I am definitely Spice and she's Sugar. And if she's watching, shout out to Stacey. And we redevelop all multifamily buildings and we provide housing for people. And we're really working with some groups that are important to us, the prison reentry program, rapid rehousing, homeless initiative. So we recreate spaces for people that need kind of like a second chance. But we are working on the Invest Tour.
Ooh, hi, Tracy.
Hey, Tracy.
Hi, Joanna. What's up?
We are working on the Invest Tour, which is our biggest task. We're going to go Tampa, Orlando, Miami. We're going to hit New York, Atlanta, Chicago. And it's all about overcoming things in your life. We have real stories from people who have been to prison, had issues with drug addiction, sexual assault survivors. And we've kind of collabed with a bunch of speakers. Some are like national speakers, and then some are just local people. And we're going to have about 20 vendors at the first event.
It's going to be
hoping
amazing.
Ted will be
I'm
in
going to
Orlando.
be there. I'm committed.
Yes.
But I want to ask you something before you go on, because I want to take a deep dive into all of this. Maybe you were born like this, but there's always a backstory, right? There's always a backstory as to why someone gives like you give, how you find your purpose. Obviously, all of us go through this stage. We were all teenagers at one time. How did you get to where you're at now? Where did this giving and this selfless giving and this finding your purpose come from? Were you always like this, or did you have to find it along the way?
I mean, I think that I was kind of an abnormal child. I think that I always wanted to study. I remember being in 4th or 5th grade, and I would read these books about Abraham Lincoln and what happened in these movements when we got rid of slavery and women had rights. And my mom was like, why? My sister had coloring books, and I really wanted to make change. I think that there's certain people that are not afraid to have not everyone like them. And I think really good leaders are like that. Great. So I think I've always been a giving person. Finding purpose for me and collaborating with my career. It's funny, Tracy Mielman is on there, but this culture here, just the last 6 months with really Tracy and Robert, two people that I've kind of talked to a lot, really Tracy more, I kind of have figured out really what I want to do full time with my life.
Isn't that beautiful when you have supportive people like Tracy? Tracy's amazing
at
being able to fine tune that.
She's too popular now, though. I'm upset. I thought that she was mine.
She's always been popular, but she makes
but
you
now
feel
everybody gets her time.
She makes you feel like you're the only one in the room, and that's
she does.
A gift.
It's a super gift.
It's a big gift. But you're like that too. So the first time I saw you was at the mastermind last month.
Yeah, tell them how
you were on the panel. And so this story, so I go to a lot of panels. It was an honor to be here. I was very excited. Our team was here from Future Home Loans, and I was just in the audience and I watched the panel. And both panels were amazing. I loved it. But Betsy, immediately I connected with that spirit. Why? I just felt like everything was raw. It was completely vulnerable and authentic. And not that the other panelists were not, but I connected with her because I just felt like there was something there, that we had experienced something similar. There was definitely a spirit that she had around her that I just felt very connected to. And so, of all of the panelists, I love you all. I'm friends with many of you. I didn't know Betsy. I reached out to Betsy. Why? Because I just felt like when you find somebody who's got that kind of unique purpose, when you find someone who actually can talk about it, get real, get emotional, isn't afraid of what other people think, that is a gift, and that is somebody that I want to surround myself with. So that's why I reached out to Betsy, and I said I would be honored to have you on the show. And the show is all about inspiring people and motivating people. There are people out there that will watch the show and go, oh my God, I've either been through what she's been through, or I would love to be able to be part of what she has, because her energy, your energy, is so contagious and it's palpable when you're in the room with you. And when you speak about other people, when you speak about helping other people, there are people who do it for the pictures, and then there are people who do it because it's on their heart and in their soul, and it's part of who they are, and that's how you are. So I'm fascinated by you. I'm fascinated by your journey, because
thank you, Ted.
I really mean that. I think that it is. There are a lot of people out there with a similar desire. We were talking about this before we went live.
We did.
People, Travis Doodles, we were talking about Travis.
My boy Trav.
Because that's a doer. But I think we all would like to be like Travis, but we don't have the resources, or we think we don't. We don't think we have the power behind it. We don't think we have the purpose. We're not sure what our purpose is. So I love the investor. I loved, we'll have to put in the comments the actual commercial or the YouTube that they put out. It's beautiful. I don't know how you can't leave that without a tear in your eye. But enough about me speaking about you. I want you to share, I think one of the things that you do, so real estate is real estate, right?
Sure.
You love LPT. You love what you do. You're building teams. You're doing your things.
I love that too.
But you have a heart for people.
I love you, Ted.
I love you too. I do. I mean it. We love Matt Buckley. He's in the back there.
I love Matt Buckley.
I love Matt Buckley.
How can you not love on
How
Matt
can
Buckley?
you not? He's my kid's age. I feel like his grandfather. But I feel like there are a lot of people who are going to watch and then go look you up, because we've put your tags and everything in there, and then wonder, how do I get to be touched by that a little bit?
I'm glad my mugshot's no longer on Google.
That you could find. We had it erased. But I think that people want to find that out. Like when they come in, when you sit in a panel and you listen to Betsy and you hear what her heart is saying, they want to touch it. So tell them a little bit about Investor, because that to me is a beautiful big thing that you're doing.
Yeah, so I think that when you find your purpose, you kind of have to like experience things, So originally, way back in the day, after I kind of lost my dance theater scholarship, I was a dance theater major in college.
I love that.
So the original plan was for Betsy to be on Broadway and go dance and do not strip, Ted. Even though I have one amateur night once.
One time.
Just one time.
Everybody's had one time in their life.
But I wanted to professionally dance and perform. And I think that what is easy about speaking is that I kind of do like have that background a little bit. So I wasn't like super born gifted. But I love that. And then I had my son when I was sophomore in college. I lost my scholarship. So I got into the criminal justice space, and I really liked helping people, being a probation officer, substance abuse counselor, but I also had to like send people to prison.
Well, let me ask you about that, because I have a degree in that. I have a master's degree in health services administration.
I love that.
With the focus on nonprofits. So I worked with POs. I worked in the substance abuse field. POs aren't necessarily always looked at as helpful. But I have a feeling that the people that were part of your day-to-day activity, you loved on them.
Yes, I did.
So talk about that a little bit, because those people they're obviously trying to figure out how to rebuild their lives.
Yeah. I had one of the largest caseloads. I had like 750 clients on my caseload. And, some of those people we were supposed to see every month. And actually I worked in a small county that like didn't have a lot of money. So in our PO card, we didn't even have the that divided
Oh.
whoever we were arresting from us. I remember like driving, thinking like, oh my God.
Don't stab me.
Yeah. But I really like, I fell in love with people. I fell in love with their story. And I do really believe that people should be given a second chance. And I think that there are times where people do have to hit rock bottom as well. So I think even now I apply that in my coaching. I'm not a cheerleader. Like I'm not the rah cheerleader. I know when to have like empathy and like love on people, but also have that accountability piece, which really makes us good. And I think I got that from my dad for sure. But doing the probation officer stuff, I was helping people and doing the substance abuse counseling. So when I did go into real estate, that was difficult because I knew financially it was a great move, but I really didn't know, like, am I ever going to be able to like merge my passion and my purpose?
Right. And I think that anything that amazing humans together, spreading great cheer, inspiration, and passion. That's from Tracy. We love you, Tracy. I think that any vocation, any path you choose, you can choose to create it and do what you're doing. So maybe people will look at real estate as it's just transactional. You don't, obviously. It's people.
For sure.
It's all people. It's compassion. It is
I don't like
coaching.
The transaction part.
I think if you are doing real estate strictly for the transaction, you are missing the boat.
100%.
But I think that any vocation that you have, anything that you want to do with your life, if you are approaching it transactionally, you are missing out. You're not finding your purpose, which for a lot of people, they would say, Betsy, why would real estate be your finding your purpose? How could that possibly be part of it? But you're talking about people, your team, the people you list for, the people that you represent on the buyer side, everybody in the transaction. Sure. You are trying to build people up. So that to me has nothing to do with the transaction.
Well, and that's where the tour came from. The Invest tour was kind of like, hey, I don't want to do another real estate conference. Stacey and I have both had pasts and been involved in different things. And honestly, it was crazy driving here because I was thinking about being the interviewee when normally I'm doing the radio show in Tampa and I'm interviewing people. Yeah. So I think the tour kind of takes like my past and what I've experienced and now puts it like all into one. So the tour will be people with all of those stories, sexual assault survivors, people that have overcome drug addiction, people with some prison terms, and they're going to talk about what they went through and how they got there. And then we'll have about 20 to 25 vendors there that will be every resource someone needs, from lenders, realtors. We're going to do some non-for-profits in that.
I love that.
Counseling services, groups that will take like donations. I think we have a sex trafficking place that will just take any clothes from your closet. Like they're going to be there, but every resource will be there. It'll be a full day event. So people can come, they can get inspired. We're kicking off 2023. The event's January 14th.
Awesome.
And they'll be able to listen to these stories. And then after every story, though, we want to tell people how. Right. Like that's the worst part about going to a conference or a training, is that you hear these stories and they're great and they're inspiring, but there's no actionable items.
That's right.
And so we're going to give out case studies on our projects, what we've done, how we've bought real estate with sexfind.biz. Ted, you didn't tell me what this
YouTube.
Wait, you didn't tell me about what this show was about, Ted. I'm in like deep thought and I look at the comments.
You got to love our YouTube family and friends out there.
Okay. So we just ignore them?
Yes.
Okay, great. So it's going to merge everything into one. And I think that for everyone on the tour, Langston, Joe, Travis, Stacey, our guest speakers, they're all like really big parts of my life. And I think that I've kind of merged all of those parts of my life together.
That's beautiful.
And then just being able to help people in the midst of that is awesome. But it's not about me and it's not about Stacey. It's not even about Sugar and Spice Developments. It's really about providing people value and how many people can we touch. So we hope to touch 500 to 750 in Tampa on January 14th. And then we're coming to Orlando.
Ooh, I can't wait for Orlando.
Yes. And so it's great.
Tell me about just personal question.
Sure.
So we talk about pouring into other people, which you do all the time.
Okay.
So how do you recharge? Because I think like people ask me that a lot. They say you're everywhere, you do the show, you talk about other stuff, you're always lifting other people up. Who lifts you up and how do you recharge?
So I am always transparent and I will tell you what I'm good at, what I'm not good at. I am the worst at work-life balance. But the biggest but for me is that I really do love what I do. So when I am like really exhausted and I have to make one more phone call, I can say fuck.
Sure.
I fucking love who I call. And I really like what I do. And I really wasn't big presence on social media. And I think that gave my business a real disservice. I've always kind of wanted to be the background and like feature other people. And going into 2023, I'm going to be a little bit more selfish and fill my cup more. The other thing is I feel like I had the same church family for 13 years back home. And moving from Florida or Illinois to Florida, I lost that and I never really plugged in. And now I'm super plugged in at Crossover Church in Tampa.
I love it.
And I love them because Pastor Tommy has created an entrepreneur group. So it's one of the only churches I know that actually does a Christian entrepreneur group. And it is like badass business people that come together. So I fit in with that, right?
Yeah, you do.
Because I may say the word fuck, but I'm still a Christian and I love God and I love helping people and I love to serve. So I don't say it in church though. But I love doing that. And so it's helped me plug back in and another person on my journey right now that's helped me. So I fill up there and then I fill up with really good people. You know, I know that you are interviewing me on the show, but we spoke for an hour and a half the other night and it was late at night. And you were just like, Betsy, no, seriously, like I listened to you on the panel and I've watched you and I don't make all these calls all the time. It's people like that just tell you like, hey, dude, we see what you're doing. We're with you. We love you. And those people fill me up, but I am getting better. And I will tell everyone out there that you're only as good as like the trades that you master. So don't be a jack of all trades, hone down to one. And that's really my focus for 2023. I told you I'm kind of rebranding.
You are.
And I'm focusing on one thing. And I'm not going to lie though. I like a lot of things.
You do. Well, I think people like
So
us
hard.
like a lot of things, but you can't be everything to all people.
I know.
And all things to all things. It just it will burn you out, and then you won't be good at any of it. But I have the same problem. I don't know how to say no.
Yeah.
Horrible at it. No.
I'm getting better.
Let's
practice,
Ted. We need to
No.
practice.
Can you practice?
Yeah, I'm going to say it here, and then I'm going to say yes to 45 people.
No, let's
We're off the
practice.
show.
No.
Yeah, that didn't. Nobody's going to believe that.
They're going to go, but as soon as we hit Betsy or Ted's
exactly.
heart.
Yes. And that's what, but it's a gift. I don't even think it's a curse. It's a gift and a blessing. It's a different mindset, and you have to figure out how to maneuver it. I don't have a great work-life balance, but I'm blessed to have, my kids are older. My wife has always been supportive because I've always been in a world where I'm creating my own business. I'm an entrepreneur, always have been.
Yeah.
But it doesn't mean that it's easy on us. Sometimes I'm tired. Sometimes I don't want to necessarily go.
I got a good story for you.
Tell me.
So I do the radio show for LPT on Tuesdays, and then I teach realtors all day on Wednesday. And I went to go to my meeting Thursday at 9 a.m. and I couldn't find my keys. And I couldn't find my bag. And I have this backpack. I'm not really a Louis Vuitton girl. You know, I'm a backpack girl. So I have this backpack and I left it on my front porch.
Oh, no.
And so that was a moment for me where honestly, it was a red light moment. Like, shit, Betsy, like you're exhausted, you know? So when you hit those moments, I think that you turn to mentors in your career.
Yes,
you turn to business people to just kind of say like, hey man, help me recharge and figure this out. And so one thing that I've done that was really like hard for me to do is I was also running a property management company, and I called Stacey and I said, hey, I'm going to have to keep only a couple accounts. Like I have to shut this down. And I had to call these owners 2 days ago that I've property managed. And so what I did is I researched another company, but as hard as that was for me to say no and let it go, I have a huge relief off my back going, I can serve way more over here than serve over there and impact a lot more people. And honestly, they were like so cool about it. They were like, we knew you'd have a blueprint for us. Like I called a new company, I negotiated price, I did all this stuff. And now for me, it frees up this time. So I am going to get better at that.
Good. I think
you need to too.
We're launching a new show in January.
Okay.
Called Raw, and I've got a coach who's going to be coaching me through the
Ooh.
thing. So I'm going to get super open. I mean, I think I'm pretty authentic and open all the time
Yeah.
anyway, but I'm going to get really deep because people will look at a you or a me or a Matt Buckley and go, God, you guys seem like you have it all together all the time.
It's not true.
And that is so far from the truth. And then you're
Yeah.
right about having a mentor or a coach or both or somebody that you can talk to. And I think that's where a lot of people really burn out.
For
They
sure.
really don't have anybody to talk to. They are constantly on the go and giving. And maybe they're giving in places that aren't feeding them. It's not part of their purpose, which is why finding your purpose is so critical. I want to ask you another question, a personal question. I ask a lot of guests this. I think that people look up to you.
Okay.
And so when I say the word hero to you, who's the first person that comes to mind?
My dad.
Tell me why. You've mentioned your dad a bunch. You mentioned him earlier, and you mentioned him with Matt earlier.
Yeah.
Why?
Oh God, I knew you'd get me like emotional on the show. Just because I think that he chose to be selfish at the right points of his life. Like he chose to take a step back from me and my sister, and then he went through divorce with my mom and really just like get his shit together and became just like the super badass. And I think that he's just taught me strength.
It's beautiful.
I think he's taught me strength. I think that there's 4 girls, and he always said, don't rely on a man, like go do you. And I think that is just like any phase of my life, like whether I was 15 and I was like living on my own, or I like lost my college scholarship, to like just be strong, and like push through. And I think that that's why I am who I am. Cause like, I just want to be that person for somebody else. It's like, fuck that. You got this, dude.
Yeah.
Like it's not about the people that are with you. Like when you're winning, it's not about the people that are with you when you have money or things are going good, or you get asked to be on the TED show. It's those people that I know that have like been in my corner. Like when I wasn't in my best, and I wasn't winning. And I think that's like who my dad is for like a lot of people. But he is winning. And I like tell him all the time, Dad, like own it, like go to your jam, like go buy yourself a new car, and just everything about him. He's been sober 25 years. He's very disciplined. He's very regimented. And he gives a lot back to a lot of people. And I think he's the guy walking down the street that you would never know is a multimillionaire, And I think that was my big attraction to Robert Palmer and what he does. It's like Robert Palmer is like the 43-year-old version of my dad.
Yeah.
And
you would never know Robert.
Yeah. And you would never know that he, had money or like what he was trying to do. He's always ready to like give to the next person. And so it's just funny how that circle of life happens, because I think that my dad gave me that strength. And then it's like LPT gave me the strength to put myself out there. Didn't think that I would host a radio show. I didn't think that I could be on the TED show. I didn't think that I could tell my story. And so that whole like circle of life thing is like, emotional for me, man.
I would be honored if my daughters said what you just said about your dad. I would break down. I think that's a beautiful testament to him and to your relationship, and the fact that you can recognize things that he had to go through or do, or sacrifices he had to make that might have impacted you, and still the impact he's had on your life.
Thank you.
Beautiful thing.
And we fight too. Like what's crazy is that like my dad and I like, and we don't really talk that much because, he's like still working at 70, he's still building and developing and doing his thing. And he started with nothing and really built everything up. But like we fight, and he always says to me, like, I created you. So we are a lot alike in who we are. And I think that has like created conflict. But I know if I had to make that one phone call, dude, to somebody, and I was just like, whether I'm at my worst or my best, like he'd be there.
Beautiful. Thank you
for
sharing that.
You're welcome.
Me all choked up.
Were you
before
really?
Oh yeah, you can see it. Oh, I cry on a drop of a hat. I love that, because to me, we don't say it enough to the people that have impacted us like that.
Oh yeah, for sure.
And we might say it to say it out loud is just a beautiful thing to put out there in the universe, whatever your beliefs are. And I just feel like it's so cathartic and beautiful to be able to do that. So I'm very happy you did.
I think you have to have gratitude, right?
I
think that there's a difference between being thankful and grateful. Like the text that you sent me after the phone call, like that's gratitude. Like, hey, that was one of the best conversations I've had in a long time, And I think that what I'm involved with now and like the culture here. Like we were talking about the vibe of this building.
Yes.
It's like, this is not like a paid testimonial. It's real. And so like the culture here is like, they really have gratitude for like us agents,
Yes,
which
they
allows
do.
us to like
They
bleed
do.
gratitude on other people. And I think something that I'm practicing just in my life is actually making those calls and texts. Like I called this guy who spoke on Sunday at the entrepreneur event afterwards, and he called me and I was like, look, man, like whatever you thought you didn't do right today, you crushed it, man.
Yes.
And you impacted someone like me. You impacted high level thinkers in this room. And I think we're always quick to write a shitty review,
Right.
but we're not quick to just take 5 seconds
Exactly.
and say, that was really great, man, or that affected me in a certain type of way.
Yes.
And that's how me and Matt Buckley met. I called Matt Buckley.
Did we hit it? It's
No.
still there.
Okay.
Hit log on. No, we're still there.
We're still
It's
live.
just a
We had a
little button.
tech issue,
They
but
can still see us the whole time, by the way.
oh God, we were probably, I want to see our faces. But I called Matt Buckley after this happened, and I just called him up and I said, hey, I just want to tell you, like, I'm grateful for like meeting you.
Yes.
And I wanted to tell you that I thought our conversation was great and your transparency was great. And he was like, really? Like, and so it's weird because as human beings, I think for anyone like watching, we've learned to like take punches and like
Yes.
jabs and all this, but we don't really know how to receive. We don't know how to accept compliments,
I'm horrible at it.
especially us.
I'm horrible.
And that's what I'm really trying to do in 2023 is one, like show gratitude, but receive gratitude. And when somebody wants to pay for my lunch or somebody wants to tell me thank you, like it was hard for me, you introducing me just now.
Really?
Like it's really hard for me to hear you're great and you do great stuff. And I think that that's something I just said, oh, damn, I'm working on that too.
You know, we're all a work in progress. And that's what one of the things I love to show on the show about people is that, again, if you look just on paper at what you do and you listen to you think you've got it all together. And we do still have struggles. There are things that don't work out. But if you come at it with your purpose in mind on everything, with gratitude and
Yeah.
all of that good stuff, things begin to fall into place. And you do things, which I love. I know in 2023, do things without expectation, give without expectation. I love this whole thought process because I think people get so caught up in giving and then they're waiting for the return. Like, hey, I just helped you out. So
Yeah.
what have you done for me lately? And it's just such a horrible place to live, in my opinion. And I love the fact that you're putting it out there and that you are creating an environment for your agents, your team, your people, and what you do in the lives that you touch. It's all of that is coming from that place. And that is going to change the world. I feel like one person can change the world, might not be the whole world.
A little
It's going to
piece
be
of it.
a little piece of the world that wouldn't have been changed without you. So I think it's amazing.
Yeah, serving without expectation is something that is tough. I think even someone like myself that is teaching or training or coaching or taking the time out to have a conversation with somebody, there is times where you feel a little like resentful. You feel, and anyone who says that they don't is lying.
Agreed.
You know, you can
Totally
be
agree.
the person out there that is serving and giving, and then sometimes you're like, man, like when is it my turn?
Agreed.
But I do feel that you are set up for certain phases and you're set up for those. Like, it's like the people that run track and they jump over the hurdles, you know?
Yes.
And could you just imagine an endless roadmap of hurdles? Like that's, I feel like the first 39 years of my life has been, and I'm about to be 40 in March. And I've kind of told myself, like, we've jumped over enough hurdles. Now we're going to run. We've crawled, we've done all of that. We're going to run. And I want to serve without expectations, but I want to show people who I am. And I have to start being a little bit more selfish. I have to fill my cup. I need to take care of my health. I mean, I am going to be 40.
You're a baby. You look 20.
Do I look 20?
You do. You look so young.
I think it's your light. It's your light.
It's not working on me. I'm 90. I only look 70.
You're so crazy, Ted. But I think that's really what it is, right? So I want the listeners to like hear that, is that, you know, anybody that serves and gives and does all of those things, of course, the intention is real and it's honest, but you do get beat down.
You do.
I remember telling someone yesterday, like, man, I'm not really trying to have this reaction, but I'm a human being. So when it's like stab, 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 you react to that, So I think that just working on self is huge, working on self and figuring out what you want to do, who you want to be, and also really looking at what you have, not what you don't have.
That's correct.
Because for me, I want to just really dumb it down and spend that first year of my 40s just kind of mapping out myself.
It's going to be an amazing first year of your 40s.
It's all right, great.
Betsy, tell them how they can find you. What's the best way for them to reach out?
We have to end it.
We do. We'll come back. You promise.
Okay, I promise. They can definitely send me an email, my first and last name @gmail.com. You can definitely text my Google number, 813-609-0229. You can find me on Facebook, Betsy Jean, Jean Tinervin, and you can contact Ted.
You absolutely can, and I will get you to. Thank you for coming on the show. You were just as amazing and wonderful.
I really think that what you're doing is great, and I just want to tell you before we end, you don't give yourself enough credit. When Ted contacted me, I went to his Facebook, and he's organically grown, 25K followers. I went to his YouTube channel. You're really a catalyst and connector in the community. And I think that even though you have a business, you don't even really spotlight it on your show. You just get to know everybody. You took the time to look me up and have a conversation with me. So Ted's going to be coming to my show in Tampa.
I'm excited.
The LPT All-Star Radio Show. And I'll be back here, but it's been an honor and a pleasure. And I just want to give you some credit. I want to give you some love and some juju because you do great things as well. So thank you for having me.
And I love hearing that. You know what? God does that. He gives it to you when you need it the most. And today I need it. So I appreciate you. All right, you guys, Betsy Tinervin. She'll be back. Find her all on social media platforms. And you can look in the comments and all the links here. Come back and see us anytime.